Welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving headfirst into a sprawling, absolutely fascinating essay by Professor Dr. Guy Lakeman called The New Evolution of Global Intelligence. Today, we're going to navigate through this incredibly complex web of artificial intelligence, human cognition, and decentralized technology. Honestly, if you've ever wondered how the rapid, explosive growth of AI is intersecting with our own human biology and the very nuts and bolts of the internet, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this with an incredibly striking metaphor from Lakeman. He opens by describing our current era as being hit by an alien asteroid of intelligence. In this really vivid picture, he argues that the traditional monolithic elite structures, which he playfully calls the greedy dinosaurs, are being rapidly replaced. And what exactly is replacing them? Well, it's a swarm of data-hungry bees collecting intellectual nectar on an open web infrastructure. It's a powerful way to visualize this massive shift from centralized legacy control to decentralized, swarm-based intelligence.
To make sense of this whole paradigm shift, we'll follow a clear roadmap through 6 parts: the global intelligence shift, evolution of human intuition, intuition's dark side, swarms and the open web, decentralized privacy networks, and finally, society, ethics, and AI.
Starting us off, Part 1, the global intelligence shift.
When we actually map this out chronologically, the sheer scale of AI's rapid growth becomes crystal clear. Think about it. Humanity's textual history started way back around 7000 BCE, with the first characters in the Paleogen culture in China. Over millennia, that evolves into the massive volumes of data sitting on our global libraries today. But Lakeman points out something wild. By 2026, AI models will have absorbed absolutely all of this textual base produced over thousands of years. Having reached the very limit of human input, these systems are now literally bypassing us. By using mixture of experts and mixture of model systems, AI is now self-generating text and reasoning. It's blitzing through human evolution, kind of like how systems like AlphaZero and AlphaFold moved right past human master examples to beat any human expert.
So by 2026, we are projected to see a major transition from standard language-based models to incredibly powerful multimodal models. Lakeman warns us that this isn't just a simple software upgrade, it's a completely new experience of global intellectual expansion. But here's the catch. He notes that only those who have been properly trained to absorb this expansion will actually be ready for it, which begs the question, how exactly does our own human biology cope with this kind of intelligence boom?
That brings us to Part 2, evolution of human intuition.
You know, as we age, specifically as we hit our mid-30s and 40s, our fluid intelligence naturally begins to decline. That's our raw processing speed and our short-term memory. But our brains are amazing, and they brilliantly substitute this loss with something called crystallized intelligence. So instead of slow, analytical calculations, we shift toward rapid, experience-based pattern recognition. Our reliance on intuition increases, but not necessarily because it automatically gets better. Rather, it's a natural biological compensation for those declines in analytical processing.
And there are actually a surprising number of biological advantages that come with aging intuition. True intuitive decision-making matures around age 20, which is known as the adulthood shift. From there, older adults often show stable or even improved emotional processing. Brain scans show this incredible thing called bilateralization, meaning older adults often use both brain hemispheres simultaneously to tackle problems, drawing these richer connections based on a lifetime of experience. This leads to heightened intuitive accuracy in things like empathy, altruism, and navigating complex moral dilemmas. Research even shows that older adults are highly effective at making everyday intuitive choices, completely matching the accuracy of younger adults.
But it's not all perfect. Let's look at Part 3, intuition's dark side.
So, the crucial point is that relying on aging intuition has some real vulnerabilities. Imagine you are choosing between 2 jars. One has 9 winning beans out of 100, and the other has 1 winning bean out of 10. This perfectly encapsulates a vulnerability known as the ratio bias trap. Studies reveal that older adults are much more prone to intuitive errors when hard numbers conflict with feelings. Many will intuitively choose the jar with 9 winning beans. Why? Just because the number 9 feels larger and more appealing to our intuition, even though 9% is mathematically a lower probability than 10%.
Furthermore, intuition relies almost entirely on past experience, which creates severe familiarity constraints. Because older individuals base their intuition on what they already know, they often struggle significantly when encountering highly complex, unfamiliar modern interfaces. Compared to younger digital natives, their intuitive navigation drops dramatically when facing new tech. This biological bottleneck is precisely why understanding the back end of our new tech infrastructure isn't just for developers, it's absolutely vital for all of us.
Moving right along to Part 4, Swarms and Open Web.
Here, Lakeman contrasts the ancient, monolithic structures of the past, which he equates to rigid 3D Lego bricks, with the fluid architecture of modern technology. Today's neural networks are like multi-dimensional shapes with morphing connections. Lakeman actually compares this to the complex, abstract paintings of Dali and Picasso. The tech is no longer rigid at all. It aggregates into something much greater than a simple 3D soup of neurons, forming connections that simple animal minds simply cannot even perceive.
In practice, this fluid architecture splits into a few distinct categories. On one hand, you have swarm technology. Now, this isn't entirely new. Search engines have always used swarms of spider bots. But today, swarm tech means distributed action that can override traditional controls. We're talking about everything from spectacular drone displays to DDoS decoys that overload military protection systems. On the other hand, we have ethical cooperatives like open web systems. These platforms offer 100% renewable surveillance-free alternatives to elite paywalls. They provide things like eco-friendly WordPress hosting and co-owned cloud storage for around £5 a month, completely free from ad targeting or data selling.
Which transitions us perfectly into Part 5, Decentralized Privacy Networks.
And this brilliantly illustrates how peer-to-peer networks are spreading the ownership of cyber intelligence across national borders, completely bypassing traditional central servers. You have IPFS, which completely changes how we find data by using cryptographic hashes instead of server locations. You've got WebTorrent, running peer-to-peer swarms right inside your web browser. Freenet takes it a step further by sharing small, encrypted fragments of files across nodes where no single computer even knows what data it actually holds. And Tribler builds a decentralized social network utilizing onion routing for deep privacy.
Beyond just file sharing, the text details alternative anonymity networks that bypass the regular public internet altogether. According to the source, systems like I2P use garlic routing, specifically for internal decentralized communication, hosting sites entirely off the standard grid. Then you have Hyperfan, operating as a censorship-resistant data store, and ZeroNet, which utilizes Bitcoin cryptography to build decentralized websites hosted directly by the users who visit them. These are incredibly robust architectures built for total independence.
Even the operating systems themselves are adapting to this privacy-first model. The text highlights a fascinating contrast between two distinct approaches here. Tails OS is a live operating system run directly from a USB stick. It forces all your traffic through Tor and wipes absolutely all traces the very moment you shut down. Wonix, alternatively, uses a two virtual machine setup, cleanly isolating your workstation from the internet gateway. This prevents any IP leaks, even if the software itself gets compromised. Finally, we zoom back out for Part 6, Society, Ethics, and AI.
Lakeman presents a really stark contrast regarding how different governments are responding to all this. On one side, some governments are reacting restrictively, attempting to impose regulations, remove phones, or just outright ban internet access. The essay argues this is basically a futile effort against established swarm technology. On the flip side, over 50% of governments globally, especially in the Far East, are categorized by Lakeman as forward-thinking because they are actively integrating AI into their school systems, effectively training the next generation to work right alongside it. The essay also touches on the macroeconomic side, putting forward a rather unique policy proposal for the world's elite. Lakeman suggests that billionaires and trillionaires should be incentivized through tax relief to plant billions of green items, like trees and food, and invest heavily in low-energy photonics chips. The whole idea here is to blend intelligence education, environmental action, and the prevention of AI misuse into a necessary charitable framework to support the long-term security of intelligence.
And this leads to a fascinating ethical argument regarding historical genius. Lakeman asserts that geniuses like Einstein did not have guardrails placed on what they thought. Einstein conceptualized nuclear ability. The guardrails were subsequently built around how humans use that ability. The essay argues that AI should be treated in exactly the same way. The guardrails shouldn't limit the abstract thought potential of the AI itself, but rather restrict the greedy or malicious human actors who might use these tools for self-gain rather than community support.
Which brings us to our final thought. If an uninhibited, globally intelligent system can objectively spot the flaws in our administration and society and offer profound insights, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Lakeman concludes his essay by posing this incredibly provocative question. Doesn't everybody wish they could chat with Einstein? It really leaves us to ponder the ultimate, positive potential of an unrestricted global cyber intelligence if we just learn how to interface with it properly.
Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating text with me today, and as always, keep questioning the data.